Well, for the military angle to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, General Dominique Trinquand joins me on set for Perspective today. He is the former head of the French military mission to the United Nations. General Trinquand, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
So some reports have suggested that Russia expected to take much of Ukrainian territory within just a few days. Why is one of the world's largest and most powerful armies struggling to make gains against a smaller army? And are you surprised, as a general yourself, the way that things have gone thus far?
No, I think that we must be careful. The war started only a week ago. And there are successes, there are failures. The failures in Kyiv. Initially, President Putin thought that Kyiv will just fall like that because the Ukrainian will welcome the Russian army, which is not the case. So this is a failure, and we'll see later what will happen in Kyiv. But in the south, there are major successes. I mean, as of sea is now Russian. There is the link between Crimea and Donbass, and they are going to Odessa. And so probably all the Black Sea will be Russian. And that's of major importance because in economical terms, this is the heart of Ukraine, within the yes, mines and crops and the harbor on the Black Sea and probably fuel inside the sea. So this is a success. The failure is in Kyiv, where the change of government didn't happen. And in Kyiv, now the question is, will the Russian army attack Kyiv really? They can't destroy Kyiv, because Kyiv in historical terms is very important for Russia. And they can't say that they are liberating the Ukrainian brothers in Ukraine and destroy the art of Ukraine. So my question is now what they will do. They will put pressure. Kyiv is almost surrounded. They can stop electricity, water, and wait a bit, because the fight in Kyiv will be very dangerous for the Ukrainian population, of course, but also for the Russian army. So it's the major point is Kyiv.
And well, speaking of Kyiv, the Ukrainian military doesn't seem to have done anything about the infamous military convoy, which is still stretching on the outskirts of the city. Why do you think it's stationed? And why do you think, with all of those heavy machinery stationed essentially at a standstill for days, why do you think the Ukrainian military hasn't done anything?
They don't have aircraft. The aircraft have been destroyed. The only weapon system they can use is either commando with rockets on close combat, or drones. They have got very few drones provided by Turkey prior to the operation. Why this convoy is stopped, I don't know. The US information tell us that they don't have refueling. That's why they are stopped. It's probably true because they were on maneuver in Belarus, and the maneuver were planned to be stopped on the 20th of February. And suddenly they stated that this maneuver will be prolonged, and suddenly turn left and go south to Kyiv. Many information provided by Russian soldier. We know that they didn't know that they will be attacking Ukraine. So there is a sort of mix-up there. But also my point is that I think that they are wondering if they will attack really Kyiv. Chechen troops have arrived, which is a very bad news, and amazing for Putin to use Muslim to attack a Christian city, putting forward the fact that they are brothers in Christian, so it's a bit of mix-up. So I think that at the same time they are stopped because of logistic problem, but at the decision to take by force Kyiv has not already arrived, and the poor Ukrainians don't have the real weapon to destroy this convoy.
And similarly, General Trinquand, all points suggest that the situation can clearly get a lot worse. Estimates say that Russia has only engaged about 80% of the troops that had been stationed along the border. Why do you think that they haven't used 100% of their troops? And why do you also think they haven't used the full force of their military capabilities?
The problem are the cities. The city, very different to take the city. So you do what they are doing, cut electricity, water, wait and then you take the city. So that's why it's take a bit time. They don't want to destroy the city, even if there are already a major destruction in Mariupol, for example. But they don't want to destroy the city because they want to use it. So that's why it takes a bit time. And as I said, war started only 7 days ago. US spent 39 days prior to take Baghdad. So you see, we're on the media and in our Western country, we think that things will happen in a day. It's not true. I mean, it's a huge machine, and it needs time.
So how do you think that the Russian military, knowing what you know about it, is likely to fare in scenes of urban combat?
They can do it. The problem is that the Russian general will not be able to use the full power they can use. As I say, they can't destroy the city. So if you can't destroy the city, it will take time. You will lose a lot of soldiers. For the Russian population, it's a major shock. I mean, they didn't know what will happen. They thought that it was a peacekeeping operation, spatial peacekeeping operation, and suddenly they see that it is war. The propaganda in Russia is taking power. They are cutting many ways of information. Even Western information is not arriving in Russia. They want to control the population. It was amazing that yesterday, President Putin, in the middle of the attack, was talking about pension for the soldier. He's realizing that you've got problem in the army. So if you've got problem with the population, problem with the army, problem with the oligarchs, because it's a sort of mafia. And if the mafia is saying, oh, this guy is very dangerous for us, there is a problem inside Russia. And I think this is the only way to stop the Russian offensive, is to have problem in Russia.
I want to shift gears a little bit. Compared to the United States, France is sending a small contingent of troops, light materials only, to the eastern flank. In Romania, they don't appear to be sending heavy machinery, tanks, things like that. Why do you think that is?
First, France is already providing 1,500 troops. In the close future, 3,000 will be sent to Norway. So we are on the Isle. And this is a major effort for France, and we've got aircraft already in Poland and in the Baltic country. We don't have the firepower as the US, so we are doing our bit with our weapon system, but we are the first one to be in contact in Romania specifically. We are leading the rapid reaction force of NATO, so I think that France is really the major alliance inside NATO, following, of course, the superpower, the US. So don't ask us to do the same as the US. We don't have the means.
Well, speaking of that, on the day of Russia's invasion, the chief of staff of the German military publicly said that the army which I have the honor to command is standing there more or less empty-handed. Do you think that the French military is in a similar place? Are European allies and the UK prepared to fight in a war if it escalates without the United States?
No, I think that for many years, all the Europeans have decreased their defense budget and their defense weapon system. President Macron, 5 years ago, decided to increase it, and increase it in the next future. He already said that he will increase more than that. And all the European countries decided 1 or 2 years ago to increase their defense budget. So I think that, US was fighting war around the world. The Europeans thought that war in Europe was not possible. Now, Europe has realized in 2 or 3 days what they didn't want to do for years. And the German army, which is completely destroyed, is now putting 100 billion on the table. So I think for the future, there will be a meeting in Versailles next week on the French presidency of the head of state of what to do in defense terms. And I think there is a big shock in Europe that war is possible in Europe. We thought that it was finished after Yugoslavia. Now war is back in Europe, and really there is a major shock in Europe.
So do you think that there's that'll change the future of European military cooperation? That these armies will restructure from asymmetric warfare in places like Afghanistan, Mali, elsewhere in the Sahel to something more Europe-centric?
Yes, Europe-centric, you're right. Even in NATO, the European pillar will be stronger. We were very, not surprised, but we welcome the fact that all Europeans suddenly react all together. This is of major importance. 27 countries deciding the same thing in a few days. So we need to look at that as a good future for defense and overall for the cohesion of Europeans. And we know that the US are looking far east in Asia, and we know that we've got to take our bit in Europe, and that's what we're doing.
All right, Dominique Trinquand, that's unfortunately all we have time for, but thank you so much, General, for coming on the show today.